Welcome back to Business as a Magical Practice, very special episode edition. So every 11 episodes, we do these very special episodes that are more candid, where I get to answer your questions that you send in via Instagram, and I get to share some behind the scenes of my life and business, one of my favorite kinds of episodes that we do. But before we begin, I wanted to share something really exciting that just happened at Dirty Alchemy. We ran a giveaway over on Instagram for a course I created for private clients called Monetize Your Magic. It is a 8-week course for booking out your services and creating financial stability in your online business. It's currently only available to people in my mastermind, the Alchemical Business Intensive, and one-on-one clients. And the newest cohort of ABI, they're having huge breakthroughs in how they show up in their business and the amount of money they're able to generate with their offer. So I wanted to offer it to some people outside of ABI. And you probably heard about this a few episodes back, where I announced the giveaway when as a celebration of 1 year of this here podcast. So we ran it. We had 5 magical business owners as winners, and they're just starting to go through the program. And it's just been so fun. So if you missed the giveaway, but still want to access Monetize Your Magic, I don't know if it's ever going to be available to the public. It might just be something that is a bonus for my mastermind and one-on-one clients. But anyone who is in the mastermind, who joins the Alchemical Business Intensive or one-on-one coaching, gets access to that. So if that is really calling you, click the link in the show notes to see if we're a mutual fit to work together. And if it's a match, then you'll get access to Monetize Your Magic for free. So let's move on. Let's get started. For this very special episode, starting out with my favorite things right now. Since the last episode, I could have made a really long list. I kind of want to share these more often because I get excited about things and I want to share about them. But number one is the Aura Ring plus Rise app. So I got an Aura Ring at some point last year. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing a picture of it. I'm trying to see. Is this getting it? This is it's cute. It's like this gold thick ring that you put on, and it has these little sensors on it, and you wear it specifically for tracking your sleep quality and length. And it has all sorts of fancy stats that I don't really pay attention to that much. And here, like these little sensors on there. And it tells you heart rate variability and when you're in deep sleep versus, I don't know, the different kinds of sleep. I would have to look at the app on my phone to be able to tell you. And it lets you look at you get to see your activity level. So it tracks the amount of steps you do when you're in higher workout states versus lower workout states. And it's been a really cool thing. But what has really up-leveled it is a friend just showed me an app called Rise, RISE. And what it does is it connects with the Aura Ring or any sort of sleep tracker. If you use your iPhone, it'll just attach to or connect with the health thing in your iPhone and get that sleep data. And it maps out your day in alignment with circadian rhythms. So it'll show you, okay, at this part of the day, you're in this peak state. And at this part of the day, you're going to have an energy dip. And here's another like energy peak in your day. And this is when you should start getting ready for bed. So it's been really cool. I've actually attached it to my calendar, my actual Google Calendar that I use for all of my business. And I can see, oh, I'm going to schedule recording this podcast during a peak energy level because I want my energy to go transmit through the episode. So I'm going to put this during my peak energy level. And then also it connects with the concept of sleep debt, which I hadn't heard before. But basically, it calculates what the ideal amount of sleep is for you. And then when you're not getting that amount of sleep, it like starts adding up and it creates this sleep debt number. And it shows you what percent of 100% energy level, 100% best energy you're at. So like right now I'm like 8 hours of sleep debt. And I think I'm at like 60%. of my like best energy level, which is not ideal, but just having that information in front of me and being like, oh, this is why I'm having bigger energy dips, because I'm behind on sleep. And okay, I can plan for getting more sleep in. So that's the first. That's the Aura Ring and the Rise app. All of these will be linked in the show notes or in the blog on our website if you want to check those out. So number two for my favorite things was I took an online course in October with Luis Mojica, and it was on trauma healing, specifically called Releasing Stress and Trauma by Listening to Your Body. And it was incredible. I'm like, total shout out to Luis, because it was a truly life-changing course for me. And it's like a $300 course. So like ridiculously cheap in my eyes for what it is, where it's a full 6-week course. You get live trainings with him, you get live group somatic experiencing with him. And I was able to identify that what I had thought was chronic anxiety was pretty much me being sensitive to caffeine. And he gives like a full diet protocol for things that are less likely to be stimulating or depressing, foods that are stimulating and depressing for you, so that you can have kind of be in a neutral state for all of life. And you're like, where I was realizing that I would often skip meals during the day because I would just forget. And I found out was an adrenaline inducing action. So having consistent meals, eating a certain way, cutting out caffeine, pretty much got rid of what I thought was anxiety. It was just my adrenal glands or adrenaline being produced in my body. And it was such simple switches. And I mean, the entire programming goes into all of these somatic practices that you can do to heal trauma through your body, and can't recommend it enough. Loved it. And had some major breakthroughs with that. So I think the next time he's running it is January 2022. So definitely check that out if you've ever had anxiety issues, or you have trauma stored in your body that you haven't been able to shake. It is a very thorough and potent program that is an extremely accessible price. So that's number two. And then for number three, if you're following me on Instagram, in my Instagram stories, I've mentioned this a few times, but there is a guided meditation on YouTube by Michael Seeley called Guided Meditation for Meeting Your Future Self. And for the past couple months, I've been doing this meditation like once a week, and it's been blowing my mind. I stopped now because I feel like I've kind of reached this edge of after doing it like 6 times. It's an hour-long meditation. I usually get really annoyed and antsy during meditations over 25 minutes, but it's an hour-long meditation, and every single time he like totally takes you down and induces you correctly in a potent way. And you get to actually meet and converse with your future self. I know other programs, I've done other meditations where they do that, but this one is so good. It's just so good. And I pretty much made a Saturday ritual out of it, where I would make a ceremonial dose of cacao in the middle of the day, drink it, and then put on this meditation and lay down, and then journal afterwards, and start to make some decisions on how I can be showing up and acting and thinking and living life as my future self, to do that quantum leaping stuff, that we all like to do. So link is in the show note for that too. Love it. It's so good. Please go listen to it now and tell me how you like it. I just want everyone to take this meditation. Okay. So anyways, changing gears to look at listener questions. So these are questions that people sent in on Instagram. So if you have a burning question about your business or marketing that you want me to answer live on the podcast, you can head on over to @TheDirtyAlchemy on Instagram and submit it for our next very special episode. And the first question was, what's the most magical way to review last year and make goals for next year that feel expansive and possible? So first, I want to say that thank you for asking this question. A lot of times people get excited about these build-up activities versus I like to see of it as like the waxing moon versus the waning moon, the moon that's building up to full versus the moon that is waning down to new or dark. And reviewing is one of those activities that is a waning phase activity. So this is so not respected in our culture. We always want more, and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, when we can instead be celebrating, being grateful for, reviewing, recounting, learning from, harvesting, all of these things that are these waning moon things. When you're missing that, you're going to feel like you're in hustle mode. You are going to feel like life is harder for you, and you're not actually aligned with nature, because your body, which is a part of this very 3D physical world, isn't being respected. If you want to learn more of that about this specifically, I have a podcast episode on it called 8 Phases of a Numinous Online Launch. Link is in the show notes. And anyways, thank you for asking that because of that reviewing question. But how to actually do this, I've done an entire podcast episode on how to review your year. So just go listen to that, or you can, I have a write-up on the exact process. It's episode 23 from December 24th, 2020. I'll put the link to the actual process. It's just a blog post on my website, or you can listen to it on the podcast. And what this process actually does for you in the reviewing of your year is we can actually rewrite history through reviewing. And this is incredibly important if you want to lead a magical life, because yes, life can be challenging and shitty things can happen. But if you look back and glean lessons from it and actually position it in a different way than like all this fucked up shit happened in this last year, and this is the year that everything went wrong. Instead, like, this is the year that I was able to do X, Y, and Z, or able to expand, or able to start this new opportunity. You are going to be able to create so much more in the next year because you're not actually being driven by your fear and your trauma. So check it out. Link is in the show notes for that. It is a quick episode, and it's from last year. I did something called Your Best Year Yet. And it was the last week of December 2020, where like I walked through how to review your year, how to set goals, took you through a meditation for a guided meditation for seeing your next year. So you can just go to that and go through that process again. It's really great. I loved doing it. It was like such a gift to put out last year. So go check that out. And question 2, what tools and systems do you recommend to manage and organize? So I'm guessing you're just asking for software right here. So something I love for myself and my team is I use Asana, which is a digital project management system, I guess, platform. You've probably heard it before. A lot of people also use Trello for this. I like Asana. It's free. I have my entire team on it. I'm able to create recurring tasks, create SOPs, set deadlines, assign stuff to other people. We can communicate through there. I can set it up by different clients. I can set it up by different projects. So it's all organized. So Asana is a base level thing. A lot of people have resistance to using project management software because you feel like it's this other thing you have to log into. But if you can use this as a solopreneur, just get all your fucking tasks out of your head. It will free up so much space in your brain to actually process more and think at a higher level. I had one of my clients in the first round of the Alchemical Business Intensive start using Asana for herself. And then later when we hired, I helped her hire a VA, bringing her into it. But just for herself, it was a game changer because she didn't have to try and keep all of her tasks and her projects within her head or on like a bunch of scrap papers all over her office. It's all in one place. You can see when deadlines are, you can stay on task. So Love Asana. Toggle is another one, Toggl. I use that for myself and my team. I can track all of their time. I can track my time. I've been using it for almost 10 years now. It's another free online tool that you can assign different clients, you can assign different projects, and you can track time. I've been pretty much time tracking religiously for the last like 8 or 9 years using Toggle. So I know exactly how much I'm working every week. I know exactly how many hours projects take. So it's so easy to see ROI, return on investment, on what projects are actually too much work for how much we're making from them. If we're giving too much to certain clients and we need to rework offers. So I love, love, love Toggle. And I can see exactly how much time different tasks are taking for the women on my team. So if something's taking longer than it should, it's really obvious. So like, do we need to cut that stuff out? Do we need to rework how we're doing certain things? So love Toggle. I use the Notes app on my phone a ridiculous amount for like everything. This is a very low tech solution to so many things for me, because I'm someone where ideas will come to me out of nowhere when I'm washing dishes, when I'm going for a walk, when I'm grocery shopping, just different content ideas or business ideas will come to me. And I just have ongoing notes on my calendar. I'll like write social media posts, or like 90% done with social media posts. And I have one shared with the copywriter on my team, and she'll rework those to make them finished versus 90% done. So I love the Notes app on iPhone. I use Google Calendar religiously for planning my week, for deciding when I'm going to work on projects, for setting meetings with people. I use Calendly for scheduling meetings with clients and with potential clients. G Suite is what me and my entire team uses. Google Drive is a godsend. So all of our spreadsheets and documents are shared on there, and that's how I share stuff with clients. And then I use a physical journal. So I'll usually plan out my entire week on my Google Calendar and put all of my tasks as calendar events on my calendar, on my Google Calendar. And then each day I'll write out those tasks onto my physical journal and just cross those out throughout the day. So I don't have to keep on looking at my calendar. I can just cross them out on a physical calendar. I know some people don't like physical calendars, but I really like that digital and non-digital synthesis. So those are the ones that first came to mind for managing and organizing. I mean, all of these are free tools and I've been using them for years. It creates a really simple and connected business. Okay, question 3. How hard was it to openly build a business with a spiritual emphasis? Were you afraid? So I started my business as a general marketing agency because I thought it was easier to get clients. Well, I mean, I actually started my business as a freelancer doing marketing for businesses I thought were really cool and just pitching them for me to do marketing for them. But when I actually transitioned to thinking of myself as a business and growing a team as a business, it was a general marketing agency, and I was doing some local clients, but it kind of was always, because I had started as a freelancer working for conscious companies, because I just would always pitch those because I wanted to work with those kinds of businesses. I've always been working with spiritual clients. But I know exactly what you're talking about of when you're afraid to share that you're like changing to this weird spiritual thing. Because when I started as that marketing agency and then switched to like, I'm only working with spiritual businesses and business owners and starting to talk publicly about spiritual things, and then this podcast, I did have some stuff come up very specifically around what would my college peers think about me. And that fear definitely held me back for a few months because I didn't want to be out in public with what I was doing. And I honestly built my business to a very successful level just by referral and direct reach out. So I actually was able to delay having to face that fear for a long time because I built a successful business without needing anything from social media or website or anything like that. But then you just have to face the fear. I personally like culling your social media list. Are you actually friends with those people from college, or are they just like random Facebook friends that you still have? Like, you're welcome to unfriend them. People that you are afraid that will judge you, it's like, are they actually your friends? Just get rid of them. And then you just have to rip the Band-Aid off, of course, with a lot of love for your nervous system and taking really good care of yourself. But you're eventually just going to have to do it. And it gets so much easier after you do it. But on the note of becoming a spiritual business, and if you listen to last week's episode on, what did I actually call it? I called it How to Be Irreplaceable and Not Be a Commodity, something like that. I talk about niching and vertical versus horizontal niching, and how it actually allows you to command more premium prices. So becoming a marketing agency for spiritual businesses actually allowed me to niche and command higher prices because I'm this specific agency for a very specific person. So I'm not competing with other marketing agencies actually. And yes, it was scary. But I actually kept old clients, so more general marketing clients, as I was building this new version of my business. So like if you're someone who has a corporate job or a 9-to-5 job, you can actually build your business as a side hustle first and then transition. And I only got rid of my old clients when I knew I could replace them or had already replaced them with new, better, ideal clients. And that's not for everyone. Some people are like, I just need to go in all on my business. So this is where self-awareness comes in. But I've been the breadwinner of my relationship for the last 8 years. And so all of our like necessary income has been coming from me for 8 years. And that started at $2,500 to $3,500 a month. Like, that's how much I was making for years. And I just had to make enough money to pay our bills. I had to live extremely frugally. And I also never had a corporate job to support me. I've always been that freelancer. So me, my work, my brain has always been how I support myself. And when I was actually at an event this last weekend with some mastermind sisters, and there was one question that came up of like, oh, it's just so normal to have inconsistent months. Everyone has inconsistent months. And I just straight up said, that has not been my experience. I've always had consistent months, always. And when they asked why, the only thing I could think of, or like the thing that feels most true, is being consistent with my income was more important to me than having big income leaps. I would rather have consistent income than I would have these big income leaps, because I had to support myself and my family. Okay. So with that being the case, I was less likely to increase prices. I was more likely to look for additional clients versus increasing prices a bunch or having huge price bumps, which made it so that I raised my prices very slowly. Now I feel, because I'm just in a completely different mental place and nervous system place, I feel very comfortable raising prices now. But when I was just getting started and having to, I guess, like prove my business to myself or prove that I could be safe in my business, I just didn't increase prices very often or very much, because that consistency was more important. And being a super sensitive person, I did need to create a lot of safety in my nervous system. So I just simply started creating an audience around spirituality. I had all my normal clients. I decided, oh, I'm going to start a podcast, and that's how I'm going to get new clients, and I'm going to be present on Instagram. And that's how I'm going to build an audience around the ideal clients I want to have. And as I said, I had evidence of spiritual marketing. I was a launch manager and a tech magician for an astrology company whose CEO used a ton of spirituality in her business. Like we would do group meditations on our team calls and design launches around astrological timing. So that was already a part of the business when I was getting a lot of experience in launches and marketing. So it just felt normal to run a spiritual business. I knew that successful spiritual businesses needed marketing, and CEOs needed coaching. So I already knew it was possible, and that actually allowed it to be okay. And all of my friends have been weird, magical people, at least after college, as an adult, they've been weird, spiritual, magical people that I love. So it wasn't this weird or scary thing to start sharing about doing spiritual stuff, because it was already a part of my identity. I was already surrounded by people who felt the same way. If anything, the harder part was starting to talk about how much money I make and being super successful in business. Like that started to get weirder around the people I was surrounded by. So big lesson here is start surrounding yourself with people who are where you're at or where you want to be. If you aren't around a lot of entrepreneurs, like start making entrepreneur friends, join masterminds, join programs, join Facebook groups, whatever you need to be surrounded by other people who are entrepreneurs, who are spiritual, who are making good money, because that will impact so much, so much. If you're talking about your business and what you want to do with, like, I don't know, your Aunt Sue, and she thinks you're nuts and what you're doing is totally crazy and unstable, then like it could actually affect whether or not you take action. So keeping your goals and your dreams sacred and sharing it with people who can help you hold that vision and believe in you is really important. So actually creating community around that is a super important thing. Okay. One more note I wanted to have around this is you do want to teach yourself to have your back no matter what. So you launching a spiritual business, and if people you used to be friends with or people in your current community say weird things to you about it, and they start mirroring your own doubts in your mind, you actually have to teach yourself to have your own back. So having your own back no matter what people say, having your own back when your launches fail, when you don't hit your goals, you'll actually not hit, you won't set big goals, and you won't allow yourself to desire what you truly desire if you're an asshole to yourself when you don't hit it. So if you start now, no matter what goal you set, no matter what scary things you do, no matter what your desires are, being with yourself and having your own back is incredibly important. And if you look back and you're like, oh shit, I put out an Instagram post and no one liked it, and I told myself that I was a terrible writer and nothing was going to work, like go forgive yourself for being mean to yourself. But look back and see how this pattern has been, because it's going to hold you back so much if you're an asshole to yourself when you are actually going after your dreams. So commit to loving yourself no matter what, having your own back no matter what. Okay, so question 4, how much time do I need to do one-on-one coaching before I can expect a successful launch of a membership program? Okay. First of all, I'm going to share you my biased opinion about membership programs. I really, really don't recommend doing a membership program just about any time in your business. I have been on the back end of 3 7-figure membership programs. So businesses that a huge part of their income comes from membership programs, and they are very, very, very expensive to run. I'm talking about $40,000 a month in person costs and team costs to support that level of membership, because you have to have a lot of people in it to get to a level of success. Or if you're a smaller business and like it becomes this huge time and energy suck in order to give to something that doesn't have that many people in the program. it is a harder sell to sell a membership than a one-off course, because people are going to say yes to something that doesn't ever end versus like, this is the price and this is the program. That's something I learned very early on. Harder to sell a membership than it is to sell a course or a program. So my first thing is don't start a membership program unless you're already at multiple 6 or 7 figures and you have a massive audience already. Because another part of this is there's always churn. That's a term with memberships, churn. How many people are you losing each month? How many people are you losing each month that you then have to get more of just to be at that exact same level? So I'm just going to share, this is my biased opinion. Don't do a membership program unless you're already at a very large audience space. Okay. Not what you wanted to hear, but I'm going to change this question now to how much time do I need to do one-on-one coaching before I can expect a successful launch of a small group program or an online course? Okay. So plenty of coaches will recommend to you that you wait until you have a wait list until doing a launch. Just because it's kind of a proof of concept. There are people, you have created enough demand to launch a program. I personally started doing group programs before I did one-on-one coaching, selling one-on-one coaching, but I had years of experience in my field. I had strategy and coaching within the marketing work I gave, but I actually then just went straight to selling a group program without a big audience or anything. I just decided to start my podcast and start going hard on Instagram. Not going hard, being consistent on Instagram about 6 months before I launched a group program, because I knew that would be enough time, leeway to give value and to build trust before actually launching a program. But I guess we should specify, it matters if you're asking this question because you don't have much experience in your field, or if you're afraid you don't have a big enough audience to buy. So are you someone where you're asking this because you're just new to your field and you don't have that much experience and you just don't know if you have enough knowledge, versus I just don't know if I have a big enough audience and I'll hit my goals? If you're asking from the first way and you just are new to the field, like, I don't know, spend 6 months being full-time with clients, and it'll become really obvious to you when you start piecing together the threads of what's working and who you like working with. Like, this will be an asset to you because you'll get so clear on who you enjoy working with and what you can help them with and what your unique methodology is to build enough intellectual property to create an amazing course or program. But if it's just something where you're unsure on if you'll have a successful launch for audience reasons, I don't know, give yourself like a 6-month runway of, I am going to commit to 1 to 2 platforms. I'm going to be incredibly consistent with it. I'm going to build community in it. I'm going to give so much value and then launch it. Okay. And of course, success is in the eye of the beholder. So is a successful launch, your first launch, being $10,000 or $100,000, right? It depends on what your actual goal numbers are. Another question I would ask myself is, or I would have you ask yourself, is if you're willing to have no one sign up, then you're ready to launch a group program. Okay. Because a lot of times the first launch is a flop. Not to instill anything in your brain, but if you can hold yourself through no one signing up and not crumble and die, or, like get into a total hole and want to shut down your business, then you're ready to do a launch. Okay. Because a lot of it is a learning process. Okay. So question 5, what's the best way to start investing in your business while you still require income from another job, gig, source? I want to give everything to the business that I'm building, but I am not yet at the point where it can be my main source of income. This is so common. I have heard coaches recommend investing $100,000 in your business before really taking profits. I don't agree with that. Because like I said, I've been the breadwinner. I've had to provide all the income for my family. Not everyone's in that boat, where I know other coaches where they have like real estate income, passive income from real estate, or their husband has a salary they can live on, or they have another job that they're in, and that would change the situation. But if you're someone who needs to provide income for your business, you obviously need to be making enough to cover your bills, right? And I have invested very heavily into my business over the years. Like, we're talking easily $100,000 in courses, trainings, and mentors over the year. I invest 5 figures each month on my team and software for my business. So like, I am a huge fan of investing in my business, but never at the expense of my actual cash flow. So some people are pro debt and they're fine with debt. I personally, like, I didn't feel safe doing like the whole debt route. So I only spent as much as I could afford, and started just making enough money to afford what I wanted to afford. But if I was just getting started in my business again, and I was looking to invest in things, the best way, because the question was, what's the best way to start investing in your business while you still require income, is I would learn how to sell. Take a sales training. There's a bunch of great ones out there. Learn how to sell, learn how to do sales calls. Like, we don't learn that. We don't learn that. We were like not taught that in school, but as a business owner, it's one of the most important things you can learn. The next thing would be investing in learning how to market, learning marketing, specifically how to write marketing copy, how to learn how to do copywriting, and learn how to do good messaging. Okay. So important. Like, you don't need to learn how to put out a website. Like, you don't need to learn how to do a beautiful branding, but learning how to do a sales call successfully and address objections, and learning how to market your work and write. So important. And then the third piece, the last thing I would recommend investing in is money mindset. So huge. And there are great courses on that. There's a bajillion money mindset coaches you can hire. But that is something where if you have weird money mindset stuff holding you back, it is making a significant impact on your business. So invest in that. Also, it kind of sounds like you have another job, which might mean you can actually afford to hire a virtual assistant, a VA, and actually delegate the things that frustrate you that you have to do. So if you're someone where you have kids and you're trying to start a business, or you have a job and you're trying to start a business, like, where a lot of people may tell you like, oh, don't hire help until you're at a certain level of income, you're actually more lacking in time than you are in money. So you paying someone to do things like commenting on posts, or posting your stuff on multiple social media channels, or responding to your emails, like, that would be a great investment. Obviously, don't add things to their task list that don't actually matter. So being really, really clear on what moves the needle forward and hitting your goals in your business. But it will allow you to focus on what only you can do, which is whatever your craft is. You didn't say what your craft was. So I don't know, like, if you're a postcard artist, you can spend more time there where someone else is fulfilling the orders. Or if you're a coach, you can spend more time writing post copy and coaching, where someone else can be like putting stuff places. If you're an herbalist, you can be in sessions with people, or creating products versus fulfilling or doing customer service. So I'll throw that out there. I think that answers your question. Feel free to follow up if after you listen to this and tell me if I didn't answer your question fully. Okay. So now I'm sure a lot of you are fully in the holiday season now, planning all your gifts and scheduling time with your family, which can be really fun. But this is also the time of year when business owners can be tend to come up against time constrictions and struggle to balance their personal life with their business. So much of this season is about coming together with family and friends. But if your business isn't set up in a way that allows you to step back for days or even weeks at a time while your business runs on its own, you're probably just going to overextend yourself and end up missing out on family time anyway, because you have to check those last minute emails or make sure things are scheduled correctly. So I wanted to share some of the experiences of my one-on-one coaching clients who have recently got a ton of time back in their lives because of the systems in their business that we're in the process of setting up. So one of them just, she realized actually that she's already at her goal for the year. So she actually doesn't have to push in December, where a lot of us, even spiritual women or humans in this field, who know the importance of rest and nervous system care, like we're still pretty conditioned to always be in growth mode. So she's giving herself permission to take December pretty much completely off and then just do a mini launch of like a product, a simple workshop for fun, as a fun start of the month. And she was able to repurpose 90% of her last launch, and she's already hit her stretch goal for this mini launch in half the time with like so much ease. And now she's like, we're not even halfway through December and she's done for the month. Another client was able to take an entire month off of vacation 2 weeks before a $250,000 launch. And how we were actually able to do that was I helped her hire an OBM for her business. And we were able to pretty much externalize her expertise. So take all of the knowledge within her brain and put it into a digital format so that her clients could be served and objections could be handled, and all these things were able to go and run without her. And she would take an entire month off for vacation before a massive multiple six-figure launch. Not many multiple six-figure or seven-figure businesses are able to do that. So this is actually what is possible when you start relying on systems and be really conscious about making your business not just about you, but your business being strong on its own. So another client who has only been able to work about 15 hours a week because of her current kid situation with having a hard time finding a nanny right now. She is a quarter of the way to her launch goal before actually opening cart. Like, I mean, could you imagine that if you were only working 15 hours a week and you could get to a quarter of the way to your launch goal before open cart? Like, fucking incredible. So celebrating her. And then another one, she was at a little over 200,000 this year, but working full time. And we've been able to look back. Where she was fully at is she would like look back at the end of a day and not remember what she did. Like, I just worked a full fucking day and I don't really remember everything I just did. So we've been able to actually cut out all of the bullshit tasks that she's doing so that her schedule is completely freed up. And it actually is making it so that she can increase her profit margin, which is the difference between how much revenue you have minus expenses. So how much extra money you actually get to take home, because like we're also doing that for her team. So if you're able to actually cut out all of these unnecessary tasks for your team too, suddenly you're not wasting money on things that don't actually have to get done. So huge celebrations for all of them. And so this is your friendly reminder that you can have a multiple six and seven-figure business without it taking over your life. You can have a business where you're taking off for full weeks during the holidays to take advantage of the family and friend time. And it is 100% available for you if you're willing to do the material, spiritual, and mindset work to get behind it. So I have room in my schedule for one more one-on-one business coaching client before it goes to a wait list for the next 4 months. So if you're ready to learn how to build your business to run on its own while scaling to your next level potential, go to thedirtyalchemy.com/about or click the link in the show notes to book a 60-minute effortless expansion session with me today. And we will be diving into creating a plan to address the challenges in your business and see if we are a mutual fit to work together. So I can't wait to meet you and brainstorm some solutions to your business challenges. And I will see you next week for the astrology of 2022. I have my personal business astrologer, Robin Langford of Wicked Veracity, coming on to set you up for cosmic success in 2022. And it's going to be so good. I'm so excited about this one. And this is going to be such a great tool as you're planning out 2022. So make sure you tune in next Thursday. And that is all for this week. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.